Okay.
Chicka, chicka.
Yeah.
Kill Bill and Rev. We don't suck. Ooh. Hey, yo, do you like my spell?
Welcome back to We Don't Suck, episode 13.
Unlucky number, am I right, buddy? Am I right? Say it. Come on. Come on, you can do it.
How are you, Bill? What are we doing today?
I don't know, man. I was thinking we could play checkers in silence.
We could do that. That's a good idea. It's really rare that you come forth with a great idea. Arguably, you never do that. You know what I mean?
Dude, I know exactly what you mean, and I know exactly what you're thinking in your brain because I can see your thoughts. Stop thinking about that. That's weird. Real weird stuff you're thinking about.
Explain.
Okay, but I think,
Yeah.
I don't know what you're thinking, but I know what I'm thinking,
Yeah.
and I'm thinking it's time for an ad read.
Okay, take it away, homeboy.
Listen, man, you ever just been hanging out with your friends, smoking a marijuana cigarette?
No, officer.
Okay, good, because I was going to call the cops if you say anything else, but you're hanging out with your friends doing morally acceptable things, legal things, you know? Hanging out with your buddies, and your friend, he steps on your new sneakers. You say, hey, buddy, what are you doing here? You stepped on my new sneakers. Got a little scuff on them. I don't know what you're thinking, but are you going to pay for these sneakers? He looks at you right in the face. He looks at your face, looks at your nose, maybe your mouth, and he says, fuck you, buddy. I'll buy my own sneakers, but I'm not buying your sneakers, you know?
Damn, cold-blooded.
I know, real cold-blooded stuff. Time to get some new friends, in my opinion.
Introducing the Glock 9.
Okay, I was going in a different direction, but we can go with that.
Just shoot the bitch. Talking shit. Oh, not so funny now, motherfucker.
Yo, you know the best part about the Glock 9? It's better than the Glock 8.
That's true. It's a whole yeah.
You can get it with the extended clip.
Extended edition.
Put a barrel on it. You know what I'm saying? You might need it. You never know in these streets, man.
And a silencer.
But yeah, can you tell us a little bit about the technology behind this wonderful weapon?
Oh yeah, it's a gun.
Okay, go on.
It shoots bullets.
Okay, explain that to people who don't know how that works.
You got like a shell, you got like a bullet, you got gunpowder in it, and you shoot it, and like the shell flies off.
Right.
Like, the gunpowder like makes the bullet like go. Pew! That's like the literal sound it produces.
Yeah.
I'm one of the few rare people who are able to make to mouth a gun sound.
Yeah, when I go to do it, it's just a. It does.
Close enough, and it's a valiant effort.
Imagine it like this, dude. I kick down the door. I'm like, put the money in the bag. You know?
You know, you're playing Monopoly with your family, and your father goes, "Looks like you're going to jail, little Jimmy." You don't have to go to jail though. You got the Glock 9. Pull out the Glock 9. You shoot your dad. You win Monopoly. It's sort of like Game Shark for real life.
You don't go to jail. That's a big, important part, is you don't go to jail because you have the gun.
You don't go to jail.
You keep
because
running.
You have the gun, which is the Game Shark for life.
Exactly, man. Exactly.
Bill, can you explain to me how you've been dealing with things ever since you got our sponsors temporary Glock 9.
Well, lucky for me, I used code WeDon'tSuck, don't go to jail 42069 when I purchased it, but more on that later.
Is that the weed number or the sex number?
Anyway, so shh. Hold it down, okay? I need you to tone it down a little bit. I know you're excited, but
I'm sorry.
You're here. You need me here. Okay. So
I'm sorry.
So I've been dealing with life really good. My grandma, she made cookies the other day, but they were oatmeal raisin, and I like oatmeal raisin, but I asked for chocolate chips, so I shot her in the face, you know, and
bitch,
dumb, you know. But anyway, I assume she's dead. But, you know, honestly, at the end of the day, we're all dead inside, you know, so it's all straight, you know what I'm saying? You know, anyway, how about you, man? Have you been doing good with it? Has it been serving you well?
Yeah, man. I keep it where I keep my wallet.
Up your ass?
Dude, that's rude.
Yeah, you're right, man. Dude, let's talk about current events, dude. Let's talk about current events.
That's a smooth ass transition from the
product,
ad
man.
read.
We don't need that product, buddy. We don't need it. Throw it away. We've been balling.
We don't need that shit. Fuck it. You know what?
Ever since Jermaine the puppet died, I've been living off of his sweet, sweet insurance money.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, man. So how about that? Those local current events, dude. You hear about the stuff's happening.
Dude, is it just me or is this the best episode we've ever done?
I'm thinking it's great.
Bill, I need a pick me up. I need something to motivate me. I'm feeling a little down today. I need you to.
Let me give you a little kissy. Give you a little kissy on the mouth.
No. What?
What? That's
Again?
Weird, dude. It's weird that you would think that. Weird.
That's so weird of you to say that. What a weird. You're being so weird right now, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Later,
I'll talk to you later.
This is gonna happen later. Okay, yeah, we'll do that later. No, man. Give me some good news. Tell me. If there is no good news, make up some good news for me right now to cheer me up.
Did you hear that Willy Wonka is back from the dead and he is making...
Hello. My name is Alice. I'm here to divert your attention away from Bill's strange Willy Wonka joke that he was about to make. It really wasn't very funny, and due to several lawsuits we are not allowed to talk about Willy Wonka's corpse at any point on the We Don't Suck podcast. Thank you for your time. Party on.
I don't endorse that sponsor anymore.
Dogs are barking again. I hear them. But they're gonna have to go do what we gotta do, brother.
Pull out the Glock 9.
Yep. Anyway, yeah, man. So what's been going on with you? Tell me everything, all the things. Yeah. That's good.
Excuse me.
Good to hear, man.
Sorry. Yeah, man. That was a terrible job of trying to cheer me up.
Dude, I just want to know how your day is, and then you look me in the face, right in the ear. Talk to me like this.
Well, I'll tell you how my day went, Bill. It's been all right. I work. I'm a slave. I'm a corporate slave, okay? I go to work, clock in early in the morning. My boss goes, what you doing? What you doing? And I go, whatever you told me to do, boss, whatever's on the agenda. I'm a slave to the machine. And he goes, oh, yes, you are. Right. And then I work for hours on end. And then at the end of the day, I'm like, time to clock out and go home. He's like, you can't do that. You have responsibilities to oversee the department. You have to do overtime.
Is there what's wrong with his voice? Is he okay? Or does he need medical attention?
It's a condition, you insensitive prick.
Dude, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
And then, before you so rudely interrupted me, I'm like, I can't do overtime. I have loving wife and children waiting for me at home, starving for soup.
Okay.
And he goes, you can't have any soup. And so that's how I'm feeling.
That's great, man. Okay, I got to talk to you about something.
Yeah.
So, like, what's your opinion on Christmas music, just as a whole?
You know what? Someone asked me at work. One of my colleagues asked me that at work today, and I was like, you know what? Mixed feelings, right? Because on one hand, you know, we go to Walmart, we go to Target, or whatever other place you frequent. All you hear from the 1st of November up until Christmas, and briefly even after Christmas, is just Christmas music, right?
Right.
And I have some warm association in terms of like memories that I associate with a lot of that music. Like, it's the most wonderful time of the year.
That's good.
I think like, damn, dude, it's that time of year again where like I get disappointed. And then at the same time, there are songs that I'm really sick of hearing over and over again. Like, some songs just don't get old, you know?
Yeah.
But then there's songs that like, I'm like, man, I don't know how I feel about it.
What's your favorite Christmas song? Like, if you had to pick, you had a Glock 9 to your head, and you got to pick a song, and they're like, pick the song, pick it, your favorite Christmas song, go pick it, or we'll shoot.
Probably Merry Motherfucking Christmas by Run the Jewels, if that counts.
I don't know if that actually counts, but okay. You know.
Otherwise, if we have to pick from the old bullshit ass music, I guess it's The Most Wonderful Time of the Year by White Man Number 3.
I love White Man Number 3. His whole discography slaps. I bought the White Man Number 3 best of earlier. Streamed it too on Spotify.
Infinitely better than White Man Number 2.
Yeah.
I don't know, like, honestly, like, this is gonna sound like blasphemy, but every time I hear a Christmas song, I'm like, is that Sinatra boy?
It's either Frank Sinatra or it's Michael Bublé.
Is that Sinatra? And I look up and it's like, oh, it's Mariah Carey. You know?
Right, yeah, they look just alike, sound just alike. I always get them confused. So I got an opinion, a hot take, a spicy take.
Yes.
To submit to the court, and I want to get your opinion on this.
Shoot me.
So this is not my least favorite Christmas song. Mm-hmm. However, I do think it's the most disingenuous Christmas song. Okay, you ready?
Yes.
Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree is not a fucking rock song. Rocking around the Christmas tree, It's like, what part of that has rock and roll spirit in it, except for the doop 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 that I added in, you know, because that's pretty metal. I think it's pretty metal. Is that Slayer?
What do you mean by rock and roll? Like you what do you associate with rock and roll?
Dude, I'm just saying that song does not rock. There's nothing about it that rocks. It is called Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree. What are you doing? Are you literally in a rocking chair rocking around? Or are you like, you know, doing lines of cocaine off of strippers' buttholes and
I mean,
around the Christmas tree?
It's a valid point.
I don't know, man. I just think it's disingenuous, and whoever wrote it needs to die if they're not already dead.
Yeah, I like Jado, Jado, Jado. I made it out of clay. Jado, Jado, Jado.
I thought she was about to say, for some reason, I thought she was going to say, dreidel, dreidel, dreidel. I made it out the hood.
Dreidel, 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 I made it out of clay. Dreidel, 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 I made it out the hood.
Yeah, that's it.
Dreidel, 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 I made it out of clay. And when it's dry and ready, I'll pump it full of KY jelly.
I was what I was gonna say, but you know, they're both
Dude,
good.
that's messed up because you're saying sexual things, and I'm.
You're saying KY jelly, which is a fine jelly.
KY
product.
jelly is my favorite. Method of moisturizing my lips.
I was a monster walking through a sacred garden. The moon's falling, nothing you can say can stop it. Tell me what makes you happy, what's it do for all the others? You could call them aspiration shit, but I just call them summers. Stepping through an orchard, picking fruit that hangs low. All up on my shoulder with a crew that ain't yours. Accept the little things, never fry the big fish. Brush the dust up off it, never try to nitpick. See, summertime is stardust falling off of fingertips. I never wash my hands, I just beat them where the denim sits. canyon full of water in a drought. Fathers turn to monsters, lock your daughter in the house, leave your mask at home. Life's notes tend to crack your dome. Thirst will turn your temple real fast to stone. From the swamp to the bay to the mountains, I got lost in the frost and the haze that hung around it. Pretty pictures hanging slightly too high, put on a face that's too mighty to cry. Moon's tear glisten in my pockets, weigh me down. I don't listen, I'ma drop it, I'ma find a way to space.
Yeah. Yeah. Place the weight on my shoulder, transcending the timescape, only linked to my past and the fact that I never grew up. Drowning on my words, nostalgia for the hero, swimming through the quicksand, hoping to get stuck, define progression on the steps you take. Battling the demons, I infect my sacred space. I'm in hope of alternatives, wishing to create a highway to heaven since the stairway had collapsed. Been separated from the home, but the family was a fact. I lost my little sister trying to keep my mind intact, but a journey not the end since the sands within the glass. And every hour that I'm falling, I just forfeit the past. Every minute that I've wasted for the seconds that expand.
Okay, let's say you're about to go on a date, right?
Right.
And you're in like you're like 17 years old.
Right.
You're in high school.
Okay.
And you're like, shit, about to go on this date, boy. And
Right.
you're walking over to, like, you're getting over there to the place where you've agreed to have the date.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very good at setting stories up, as you can tell, with my descriptive adjectives.
Yeah, dude, I'm walking. I'm in high school. This is when I had bangs. I had like longer hair back then. No beard.
So you're like a minute away from the Baskin Robbins place you agreed to meet at, right?
Okay, that's
And
all right.
your lips are dry as fuck.
Okay.
They're like sandpaper lips, right? And you're like, shit, my lips are chapped,
Right.
but I don't have my chapstick on me. But I got this vat of KY jelly in my pocket right now.
Whole vat of
So-
it, dude.
I like just keep them dry lips on me, or I put KY jelly on them and moisturize them bad boys, but KY jelly is not intended for moisturizing lips,
Right.
and it might be a little overkill.
Yeah, it might be a little bit much, but sometimes you just got to take that risk and roll the dice. You know what I'm saying? What I do in that type of situation,
play it out for me.
when I pull out, all right, look, I won't say what I would do. I'll say what I did. Okay, because 17-year-old
Okay.
me got the bangs, ain't got no beard on, probably wearing like a polo shirt that was like a little bit too big for me. I was a little skinnier back then, but still kind of chubby. You feel me? It was like a big flex. I had the thick boy flex. You know what I'm saying? Walking
I feel
up,
you.
I see her. I see the girl. She's sitting at the Baskin Robbins booth. Okay. She's starving. She says, I'm ready for my milkshake and my
Also, she's lactose intolerant.
banana split. Lactose intolerant edition. It's also vegan friendly because there's no lactose.
Okay.
And it's also made out of plantains, because that's the kind of
Good.
girl we're dealing with. She love her a plantain, can't stand milk. Okay,
Yeah.
because I've heard from sources that milk is
pretty fucking delicious.
She's there. She sees me, locks eyes with me. I say, shit, boy, lips crusty. What am I gonna do? Before she can move her eyes down to my crusty, creviced lips, okay, I pull out my king-sized vat of KY jelly and just dump my face into it mad fast, so fast you can't even see it happen. I come up, I am well lubricated. You feel me? My skin,
I feel you.
One could say oily, I say glistening. You know? I'm dripping. She thinks I'm perspiring because I see her beauty, which is true. She is beautiful. Okay. I sit down in front of her, just dripping KY jelly juice all over the table. You know what I'm saying? She's like, what are you about to order? And I'm just like, and I just look her in the face.
Oh, you're finally here. I'm starving.
I'm starving. I pull the Glock out. I robbed the place. Robbed the bitch too. She getting robbed. Everybody getting robbed. I got moist ass lips. I'm looking good. Cops show up. They're like, hey man, we gotta take you to jail. Look at me. They're just distracted by my shiny ass lips. Get that clean getaway. Never see her again.
I like this. So, okay, now let's rewind this a bit.
Okay.
And add an additional element to all of this, because clearly this was easy level for you. No problemo.
Entry shit.
You're walking over to the fucking Baskin Robbins. And you realize that aside from your dry ass lips, your bangs ain't on point.
Right.
Your hair is hella long. All of a sudden, for whatever reason, your hair reaches down to your belly button.
Oh shit.
And you're like, well, boy, that won't do.
Right.
And you don't have time. You have not scheduled an appointment with your barber, right?
Mm-hmm.
You ain't got no scissors on you, right?
I mean, yeah.
But you got a vat of KY jelly and you got 2 rocks.
Okay.
Right, and you thinking to yourself, man, I got 2 rocks and some KY jelly. My lips is crusty and my hair ain't on point. What do I do?
This is what I do. We're in a busy street. She can't quite see me yet. You feel me?
Right. You like, let's say you're 5 minutes away.
I get down on all fours and I take the rock, right? And I just like strike it against the sidewalk with a force never before seen, creating a spark. The spark hits my hair, flies up. It's just because my hair is just so combustible because of all the hairspray I use. It just shoots up into flames. I look like the Flame Princess from Adventure Time. Okay.
I've been saying that
yeah, I know. That's what they used to call
minute.
me. Kill Flame Princess Bill the rapper. So
fucking put it on the wiki.
that shit's up in flames. I'm scared. You know what I'm saying? Your mom there, she's scared. Everybody's scared. You know, it's okay. You know, fear not. For I have a fat ass vat of KY jelly. Dump my head in there. Okay. The flame combusts even harder for like a split second, then dies out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I pull my head out and I look just like John Travolta. Fine as shit, boy. They say, damn, are you John Travolta from Grease? And I say, yeah, boy, that's me. That's what they call me. So I walk up. She is just wasting away. She's emaciated, okay? She's so ready for banana split, lactose intolerant banana split with plantains instead. Plantain split minus the ice cream. It's just a raw plantain. So
Yeah.
So I sit down next to her and she starts screaming because it's John Travolta. Look just like John Travolta. She can't handle it. She's like, Grease is my favorite movie. Okay. Also, Scientology is pretty cool. Then I take the other rock and I hit her in the head because she's acting a little too wild. I leave. Never speak to that bitch again. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. That was good. You handled that like a pro. Last but not least, let's rewind it one more again.
Okay, all right.
And crank this bitch up to hard mode.
Yeah, man. This is still easy stuff. I'm gonna need that Supreme Master Scott Pilgrim level. That's what I need.
So you're 10 minutes away, but you gotta be there in like 4 minutes. You come across a unicycle.
Okay.
You get a text message from her saying, by the way, I need you to make sure that when you come here, you're blindfolded.
Okay.
I hope you got those two eye patches, pirate eye patches that she gave to you for your birthday.
This girl I just now meeting for the first time at the Baskin Robbins.
It's not the first time. It's your date, but she gave you a birthday present.
Yeah, but it's the first date. I always assumed it was the first date.
It is the first date, but she gave you a birthday present before. Yeah.
She's so considerate. That's how you know that she's real if she buys you 2 eye patches on your birthday.
She says, when I see you coming here, you better be wearing them because otherwise I'll feel hurt.
Okay.
And and your lips is crusty and your hair is all wrong and you got the rocks and the KY jelly.
Okay. Hair is wrong. Lips are crusty. There's a unicycle. You said
there's a unicycle, and you've got 3 minutes to get somewhere where otherwise walking or running would take you between 5 and 10 minutes. So you're in a rush and you can't stop to do anything else. You gotta like move.
Okay.
And you gotta have the eye patches on.
It's mad easy, man. Mad easy shit. Now I don't have a GPS on my phone because when I was 17, we didn't have GPS on our phones.
Because your eyebrows are your GPS. I seen you.
Okay. Yeah, so our eyebrows, but I turn them off. I don't need them shits. I don't need them.
You don't need.
You saying I don't have a good sense of direction? You saying I don't know how to get out of the parking lot after circling around 3 times because it happened to me in real life like 4 or 5 times in my life? Is that what you're saying?
You got the eye patches on, but okay.
Okay. Anyway, so here's what I do. I pull out my mega king-sized vault of KY jelly that I have in my back pocket. I see the bike chain, the tiny little unicycle bike chain. And I'm like, there's only one way to do this. I lube it up like a lot, like at least half of it is just real extra lubricated, you know?
Right.
Okay, so the bike chain is it's ready to go. If it was a woman, it'd been,
that's a veteran move right there.
It'd have a vagina, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, so like I stand atop the unicycle with one foot on the seat. The other foot I use to slightly kick the pedal.
Yeah.
Due to the lubrication and the force of my slight kick, it propels me 90 miles per hour in one direction, which is straight to the Baskin Robbins 31 flavors, motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? We ready. So she's there,
lips is crusty, hair ain't on point.
Dude, God, dude, you interrupted me, man. You're not letting me finish.
I'm just painting the image for everyone that this is you're
crusty
going crazy. Your hair is all crazy.
You know what I'm saying? Is going on. I'm propelled at 90, 100, 110 miles per hour. Okay, flames start to occur starting from the bottom of the bike because we're going so fast. It's not ready for it. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like
how fast are you going again?
We're going 490 miles per hour. Okay, flames.
Okay, I thought it was 90, but I see.
Dude, God, just trying to interrupt my continuity.
I wasn't listening.
I'm saying that it gets to that point eventually. Its flames start to occur. The bike chain is no more. The lubrication.
Gotcha, momentum.
Okay. I take the vat, I throw it in the air, right? But I throw it forward with extreme accuracy, okay? Mm-hmm. We're going. As soon as it lands, the flames hit the flammable KY jelly, and it flies up all over my body, but only hits me on the parts of my hair that I need singed off, okay?
Right, so your bangs, now you have bangs.
My bangs is looking fresh. One could say impeccable, okay?
One could say that.
I have 3rd-degree burns. Let's not talk about that. We don't need to talk about everything. We just need to talk about the important things, is I got good-looking bangs. Surfer Boy bangs, Justin Bieber, circa 2009 bangs. You feel me?
So just to get this straight, hate to interrupt you because you're still going through all of this, but like you're accomplishing all of this whilst blindfolded, right?
Well, I haven't put the blindfold on yet. I'm getting there. Okay.
Oh, okay.
I see in the distance, I can see.
Bit of a cheater, but I get you.
I can see the Baskin Robbins.
Yeah.
I then swiftly put on both eye patches at the same time while going on the bike, just, on the unicycle on one foot. I'm kind of doing this weird pose. Like I'm doing like Great Saiyan Man poses on the thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Then I hop off, right?
Yeah.
I dive down and land head first into the concrete pavement. And I'm just sliding along. Sparks are coming up from where my face is at. Okay. Just, you feel me? I then dismount.
Good luck.
Hit that triple sow cow. I land. Then you can see from where I hit my face, my lips have become polished like diamonds. They're hard and see-through now. Beautiful. Hardest metal you can have. I sit down next to her. She sees me, takes one good look at me. My singed, sultry bangs. My diamond-encrusted lips. My eyes covered. She dies on the spot. Then I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet.
Oh, sorry.
She's dead. Cops show up. They're like, "You killed her. You killed her." I take the rocks and I just smash them both the guy's head in. The cop is dead. I'm still blindfolded. I just skirt on out of there. My lips is looking, mwah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so that's what I would do.
Okay, I like the image of like her being inside the Baskin Robbins looking out like, what's that in the distance? And just like you with one like foot on the unicycle going 490 miles an hour with your hair on fire. Just like fucking KY jelly splashing all over the fucking place.
Flaming KY jelly.
And just like eye patches on your face,
Yeah, man.
It's a good look, man. It's a good look. That's how we met.
Yeah, I'm thinking that's my new look next year.
Summer 2019.
Yeah, the new year, new me. Diamond lips, eye patches on, bangs looking crispy.
But you know how like rappers these days, like there's like, I mean, this has always been the case, but now it's sort of like it evolves over time. The look that some rappers have, sometimes they blow up off of the look in the sense like, oh, this person looks different. And then you listen to their music could be whatever, right? It could be good, it could be all right, but the look is the striking factor.
Right.
So I feel like you're missing that striking factor. You don't look like a freak yet. So I'm thinking the double eye patch thing, it gonna be good for you, my man.
Yeah.
You gotta start doing it. Next time you take a selfie, make sure you have the double eye patch.
I'm gonna do the double eye patch. I'm
going on.
gonna have the bangs, and I'm gonna have diamond lips.
Just have the KY jelly all over the bottom half of your face.
Haters are listening. Haters are listening right now. They're like, that's dumb. I'd never listen to that. I'd never look at that. Get him out of here, But then I'm just saying, like,
put him in jail.
All I'm saying is like, people like Tekashi 6ix9ine, 10 years ago, if he were to come out, actually like maybe 6 months ago, if he were to come out, people would say he was a little crazy looking, I'm just saying, I'm pushing the envelope. Double eye patch, diamond lips, got the bangs singed off, rocks in my pocket, reasons, don't know. All I'm saying is Interscope finna be at my door. Jimmy gonna call me. Jimmy's gonna be like, oh man, we were thinking about signing you for a while, but then we thought, you just didn't have a look.
Who's Jimmy? Jimmy Iovine?
You know Jimmy.
Jimmy Neutron, gotcha.
That's the one, dude. Jimmy Neutron about to hit my line,
man. Boy. If I see Jimmy Neutron, I'm gonna give him that secret Native American handshake where I dap him up and shove my hand up his ass.
That's sick, man. That's sick. I did that to Carl Weezer.
That's that native handshake, the secret native handshake specific to this one person I met once.
Tell me about it.
His name was Neil deGrasse Tyson. Bill, I need you to tell me something.
Tell me about it. What?
When was the first time you wrote down a rap? And what was the content of that song?
Oh, it was bad, man. I listened to like so much like Lil Jon.
Yeah.
And like Yin Yang Twins and like
East Side Boys.
Let's see, Bone Crusher, David Banner,
Chingy.
A little bit of Chingy. I didn't go through a huge Chingy phase. Although I kind of wish I did, because Chingy had some bars, man.
He also had some catchy songs. Lil Scrappy.
I love Lil Scrappy. No Problems was my shit. But yeah, I remember the first time I wrote something down. I wrote down, basically it was like a crunk song, which I don't know, like these young kids, our listeners, you know, most of our listeners are 7 to 8 years old.
Shouts out to the homies.
Shouts out to the boys. But yeah, like it was like call and response type music. Like it would be kind of considered like if someone like listened to like Waka Flocka, I guess that's like the closest thing we got to that now, you know. But I wrote basically this thing biting Lil Jon, and I did a whole bunch of like bars like that. And then I remember like my mom worked at the school where I went to high school.
Yeah.
And like I was a junior in high school, and I left my rhyme book laying around in the office up there by accident, and she found all my rhymes, and they were just filthy. They just had like fuck all through them, and like just all these like just like bad words and shit. And then like on top of that, it was like a bunch of stuff that was like, you know, just stereotypical like bad rap shit I wasn't even doing, like stuff about like girls or like smoking weed. I didn't even smoke weed back then.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
And I got in so much trouble, man. Like she was so pissed. She was just like,
imagine.
"What are you doing?"
Yeah. Then you pulled out the Glock.
No, she pulled out the Glock.
She pulled out the Glock and said,
she pulled out that heater and put it in my mouth and said, "You finna die, boy."
"You finna die,
You know?
boy."
Yeah, exactly.
That's good.
Quote that, my mom. No, how about you, man? The first time you ever wrote a rap down, tell me about it.
Oh man, it was bad.
You like yesterday?
Yeah, dude. Oh shit. High five, dude, for that sick burn.
Ooh.
I quit.
Good.
Okay, I remember just listening to a bunch of music and just being like, just really feeling like on this particular night when I should have been asleep, I was like 8 or 9. So this was in the 90s.
Right.
And I was just like, yo, fucking really feeling myself, wanted to write something. I've been like dabbling with poetry at that point already. And hip hop was just like my new obsession. And yeah, I just wrote the worst thing ever written down on paper, probably.
That's hot.
I remember the hook. It was, "Is this a dream or is this reality? I don't feel any gravity. I think I'm going to fly away. Somebody help me, somebody, hey." So you know, the best shit I ever wrote.
That's definitely better than my shit when I was like first starting rapping.
I think the only reason I even remembered those 2 bars, I think back then I was like, God damn, the game ain't ready. You know?
Damn. Yeah, I did the same. Like I literally just started rapping and my first thought was like, I'm gonna get signed. Like, and it was so bad.
I was just thinking like, wow. I was like, I felt like, man, this is not fair. Just, I'm coming into the game swinging. Like, watch out, Nas.
I remember my first time I wrote something where I was like super proud of it, like it was a punchline or something. I said, oh man, it's so bad. I said, I've been killing y'all fools on these lyrical tracks. People said, Jesus walks, I make miracle tracks. And I was like, this is it. I'm signed.
This is it, boy.
Lyrical, miracle, spiritual, spherical. You know what I'm saying?
Welcome to a place that we've all already been. Everybody sleeping, but me in the wind. So please assist me gravity. I kind of wanna die tonight. I kind of wanna die tonight. Don't you wanna fall asleep? The stains on the pillow color look like Hennessy now. I ain't tripping on me, this ain't LSD. I have never seen this text that was sending me as an answer to a question that I have ostensibly sent 12 hours ago, trying to jog my memory. And nope, can't remember shit. Kinda feeling like my habits now a threat to me. Yo, why am I getting thinner, thinner? Staring twice at my dinner in the toilet, dying of bitter innards. Simply trying to remember when we're. How did I get here? No clothes, closed doors, wet hair, wrong door, so sore in my left ear, feeling so cold on the floor. Is my end near? Strong lights, that's the shit that I don't like. Every glimpse of my reflection feels safe. Hatred crept up in me since my childhood, so all night I'ma pop pills like cops pop minorities. Voices scream, stop fucking ignoring me. Up and lock up, blood glass on the toilet seat. Shut the fuck up, rap, fuck you and all your needs. Welcome to a place that we both already been. Leaning on the balcony, everybody sleeping, but me in the wind. So please assist me gravity. I kind of wanna die tonight. I kind of wanna die tonight.
Dude, I remember when I was 12 when I discovered polysyllabic rhyme schemes, or multi-syllables as some people call them, right? Where like, I was just like, I would be listening to music and I'd be like, man, I like that rhyme scheme. And it would be, and I would grab the last syllable, right? Like, just a last syllable, and I'm like, and I try to rhyme, use that as the rhyme scheme, and then I rhyme it. I'm like, man, why does my shit sound like it ain't rhyming as hard, you know?
Yeah.
And then like I was listening to it more and more, and then it hit me. I'm like, oh my god, it's because they're not just rhyming one syllable; they're rhyming 2 syllables. And then I look deeper. I'm like, no, 5 syllables, and oh my god, like within that line, it's just, and so that opened up a whole new world to me, and I thought I was like one of the chosen few in the world that knew about it, you know?
Real shit, dude. I remember when I first like learned what multis were and how they works, I was just like, okay, like I know what I'm doing. This is it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like there's nothing more to rapping than this.
Right.
Yeah, it was like really funny. And it's like, yo, I remember when it first happened too. I mentioned it on here before, but I had that MTV Music Generator 3 game on the Xbox.
Yeah.
And like that's how I like first started making beats and stuff. But one of the songs that you could remix was a Fabulous song. It was called My Party. I think it was originally produced by Jermaine Dupri. Maybe I'm wrong. They had the lyrics, like the acapella in there. And I remember being like, oh yeah, he's doing like, he's rhyming the last 2 syllables instead of 1. And then like I realized he was like rhyming like the entire sentence with the next sentence in some cases. And like I was just like, holy fuck. And I remember being like, it's mad funny, but I was just like, Fabulous is the best rapper who's ever rapped ever. Like, cause that was the first time I ever heard anyone do that before. And I mean, Fabulous is cool. I like Fabulous, but
Fabulous
like,
is great. Yeah. But I agree.
But it was just funny because I remember being like 14, 15 years old and being like, it was like the equivalent of like Nick Cage and National Treasure, like, like discovering a clue. That's what it felt like.
I like that comparison. No, I agree. I honestly thought like, oh my god, I done cracked it, right? It just felt like, all right, oh my god, I felt like, man, with great power comes a great responsibility. You know, like I had something that I had to bestow the game with. And I remember just writing rhymes, and then I had other homies writing rhymes, and I'd be like looking through the rhyme book, because I was the keeper of the rhyme book, right? I was the rap dude in my school. We had a bunch of people who rapped, but I was the rap dude. I'm the one who was recording on cassette tapes when I was like 11 out in the playground in front of all the high school girls and shit. I was the one that started the rhyme book, had the first page in the rhyme book, and was the keeper of the rhyme book. We pass it around in class, right? And somebody would keep it for like a day, and they write a rhyme. They get a whole page, and then the next day they have to give it to another homie. And at the top of the page, they would have to write the rap name. Right. They had to come up with the rap name. I was like 11. My name was like Lizard.
Fire.
Right, or some shit like that. Because I was like, dude, it's like lizard, but art.
That's fire, dude. Why don't you change it from Rav to Lizard?
Yeah, I'll change my fucking legal name from Rav to Lizard.
I look at them. People always say in the comments, they're like, people, this is what they call music nowadays. How about listening to some Mozart? And I look at them, I was like, how about listening to some Lizard?
It was hella funny, and everybody would have like, some people would steal rhymes, and I didn't know, right? They would steal rhymes from actual songs,
right?
And I didn't know until years later, because I'd be like, man, this shit's dope, and then like I show it to someone else, and they'd be like, yeah, that's from a real song, and I'd be like, I felt like Vegeta, but like betrayed, and then
Punish Vegeta.
And I remember I'd be just on my way home looking through the rhyme book and just like. Not a single multi.
Yeah.
And whenever I stumbled upon something that was an accidental multi, I thought it was like a secret message. Like, I'm on to you. And I'm like, I was terrified, like, oh no, if they figure out my skill. And then when I was trying to explain it eventually to a couple of homies, they were really not getting it for a while. And when they did, they thought they were part of this elite group of people. And that's when I realized multis weren't all that. Because I was like, man, it's not that hard to rhyme 12 syllables with another 12 syllables and with another 12. Like, it sounds dope, but it ain't that hard. This ain't the hardest shit. And then you start picking up on all the songs that you liked when you were younger. And you're like, oh my God, half of these have multis.
Yeah, definitely. Or like, I don't know. That's like another thing that I think people fail to realize is that like, although I think multis are like cool, and like a lot of music I listen to uses multis.
And we still use them, yeah.
Yeah, of course. I use multis just because I think they sound cool, and they're like, it's fun to write them.
It's a fun exercise, yeah. Sometimes, especially if you have something you want to say and convey, multis can help the flow sometimes.
Yeah, I also just think that there's definitely like there's other skills like internal rhymes. Like people sleep on internal rhymes.
Yep, internal rhymes was a discovery.
Yeah, oh, dude, I remember like first listening to like Doom and hearing like, I mean, he's just crazy with multis anyway, and he does like all these like weird like we could literally sit here and talk about Doom. Both me and Rav could sit here and talk about Doom for the entirety of this podcast if we wanted to, but so we will. No, it's like, but no, like just talking about like weird deconstructing ideas and like doing multis and then like breaking them halfway through and then keeping that scheme is like genius, like that's cool to me. And then also just like saying something that's worth saying or saying something that sounds cool or telling a story or like, you know what I mean? Like it's really interesting. I saw someone recently talking about Eminem and his latest album, right? And they were talking about how like he was like really just trying. It felt like he was doing the most in whether you like the album or not. I really wasn't that big of a fan, but like he was definitely trying his hardest in terms of like, let's do the most multis, let's do the most internal rhymes, let's try to hit the most punchlines humanly possible. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like let's rap really fast and do like weird like staccato flows and like really, he was really going on all cylinders basically, right? Yeah. And then they were talking about how, have you heard the new Jay-Z verse on that Meat Mill song? Yeah. Like, that's like one of my favorite verses I've heard in like a long time, especially like
it was crazy, right?
Super crazy. And like it felt like so effortless. And then I realized that the reason why Jay can have a verse that's like more impactful and crazy, not just because his pen game is crazy, but it's like he's not like full power all the time. It's like he kind of powers up when he wants to, but he doesn't have to. You know what I mean? And like, I think a lot of rappers try to flex so hard, and while trying to flex, it's clear that they're trying to flex.
Yeah. I feel you. It's like M is like Yamcha jumping out out of nowhere, just like throwing punches in every direction. Yeah, you know, doing everything, and then just like fucking. Who would be a good example? Like Cell coming out of the woodworks, just arms crossed, and just kind of like moves a single finger, you know? And it's like, oh shit, that shit was dope. He just like,
he doesn't even attack. He just moves his finger, and everyone says, "Oh wow, that's dope."
That's just well, like I'll have more impact. I see what you're saying. So like in terms of the multis and all that, I think one other as I continued to discover more, I don't know what you would call them, literary skills or something, right? Writing abilities or writing like facets. I started understanding that like, oh man, just there's a lot more to rap and poetry in general. And I think that's when the ego started to die down. And I started finding more things like, you know, alliteration. I'm a big fan of introducing alliteration, especially if it serves a purpose, like for adding a visual aesthetic to sound, like someone like a poet like Wilfred Owen. He was a First World War poet who was in the trenches, and he wrote poems where like he would describe the bullets passing by the trenches, and like he would have like these and sounds, you know. He would just have a lot of sibilants and like alliteration in the poem, and it just felt, and it would be sharp single syllable words whenever bullets were passing by, and it just like that whole, his poetry felt visual as I read it out loud. I was just with the sounds alone, not just the descriptions and the adjectives. Like that's when I started understanding that like, okay, adjectives is one way of describing something. The way that you control your voice is another way. The way you pace yourself is another way. The consonants and vowels you choose, and in what succession you choose them to have, that creates another effect. And I think that was beautiful, because now I'm at a point where the more and more I do, the more I realize there's just an endless world of opportunities in terms of writing. And so I got to a point where my raps weren't ass anymore, subjected to some of y'all, but in all seriousness, I got to a point where I felt like, okay, I have all these abilities, and I've lived a lot of these experiences for a long time that I just didn't know how to put into words. And now I'm able to, with a lot less effort than ever before, because now I've practiced. I've been in the dojo for all these different types of things that I have in my repertoire.
Right.
That everything comes together better. And I guess this is a very long-winded way of saying this would be my best advice, because this is something I'm sure you get all the time. I get it all the time. How do I start?
Yeah.
How do I rap?
Yeah.
How do I get started? I mean, you don't need to nobody needs to tell you how to get started, because you just get started yourself. That being said, we're living in an age where people YouTube and Google everything, so I understand why people are asking questions. It makes sense. And it's flattering that people come to us with these questions. My advice would be, learn the things you can do with language. Learn the techniques with which you could employ at a later point to put your message across. And then you get to a point, and you know, it's not always about like using the most fucking poetic way and to talk about the deepest aspect of your life. It could be a funny song. It could be a very almost like a tribal kind of song where there's very few words or whatever. It could be a good song. But I think it in general, like, you want to study that shit, you know, not in a sitting down with a book kind of way, but really just getting into it, man, diving into it and not rushing to success.
One thing I would say is, because people always ask me that all the time. They're like, oh, how do I get started? How do I get started recording? How do I get started writing? What would you say to like help me write and stuff like that? And honestly, like, there's like a list of don'ts to do in terms of like just how to carry yourself, because a lot of this is like networking and like talking to people on the internet and talking to people in real life, and like basically in terms of that, aspect of it. Just don't be an asshole. Be humble. Know your worth, but don't be a dick to people. You know what I'm saying? And like,
definitely.
Another thing is like, I don't know, because everybody's different. And like me personally, when I enjoy something, I binge the shit out of it. Like, and that's how I was with music when I first started like buying my own. It was CDs at the time. I had a student job, a summer job where I was like taking apart computers in this school and like vacuuming all the dust out of them and then putting them back together. And then I got paid like minimum wage, and I used literally almost all of my money on CDs. And so I would just be listening to CDs all the time. And a part of things about listening to music all the time is like you learn everything, like not just like techniques, not just like, you know, you learn about people and how like things work in a way, because like if you listen to a bunch of different genres of music, you see a bunch of different like worldviews and stuff, and you can kind of like apply, pick and, you know, cherry pick what you want out of it and apply it to your life, and not just with music, but just everything that you do in your world, you know. And like, I don't know, like it's kind of a gateway into seeing things outside of your own shoes sometimes. And sometimes that's good and sometimes that's bad. But that's what I would say, is just like listen to music, like do what makes you happy, and just try to make something that you would want to listen to, or make something that's important to you, and don't be a dick to people.
Yeah. Amen to that. I definitely,
except for Rav, you can be a dick to Rav any day of the week.
I think it's important to do what feels right to you, if you're doing it for sort of monetary reasons, then, you know, move in a way that you can accomplish that. And there is no right or wrong motivation. You know, some people say like, oh, it shouldn't be about the money, it should be about the art. It should be whatever you want it to be about. I don't think you should allow other people to dictate what matters to you. And then, you know, go for it and try to enjoy yourself, because if you do it the way that feels right, then it'll all feel a lot more effortless, and it'll be a lot more fun to look back on. You don't want it to be a burdening endeavor at any point. I think it can be a challenge and it can be an uphill battle, but it doesn't have to be a burden.
Yeah, that most definitely. Oh, here's another thing. This is just a little thing, a little tidbit that works for me and how I kind of like think about music, and maybe it could work for you, or maybe not, or maybe it's just, you know, a dumbass opinion from some YouTube guy that you don't care about. But what I've always tried to do in my music personally, and I don't know about Rav, but I feel like he might to an extent do the same thing, because, you know, I don't know, I've always like thought like I worked really hard to try to like master form, like in terms of like learning the ins and outs of like all those things that we were just talking about, like just literary techniques in writing and in like flow and stuff like that. And then I feel like once you've like gotten to a point where you're comfortable with it, deconstruct that, like learn. And you could apply this even to making beats, mixing, stuff like that. Like I feel like that's more accurate for my production stuff, is like try to learn how to make things sound clean and then make them dirty, you know what I mean, like after the fact. Like, and I feel like if you have the power, because I think a lot of lo-fi dudes come out now and they're just like, oh, okay, it doesn't matter, we don't have to mix, this lo-fi. And I don't think they understand that like a lot of the sound of that genre and just rap in general is in the mix. And you can mix something that sounds pretty that isn't, you know, traditionally correct, you know, and a way to learn that is to learn the traditional way of doing things, and then saying fuck all that when you have a general understanding of it, and then do it how you want to do it. So
yeah, I think a good comparison or a suitable, let's say, comparison would be Impressionist art. Some of the greatest Impressionists were very able, technically able artists who were able to do photorealistic drawings or really understood the physiology of, you know, their subjects and all of that. And their style was not a consequence of their inability to like they weren't impressionist because they couldn't do anything else, right? They weren't impressionist because they didn't know how to draw a proportionate, accurately drawn human body. I think their style was a consequence of their exploration of the different styles, and then a realization of like what made sense to them and the direction they wanted to head in. And in that same regard, I think, yeah, like mixing, rapping, singing, whatever you're going to do in life in terms of like artistic endeavors, it's a good idea to get your basics at least straight, you know? Don't let your style be an excuse, is what I'm saying, I guess.
Yeah, that's a really good
and it
phrase.
Shows.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's and I mean, like I say that, I feel like I was like speaking in generalities. Like obviously there's like lo-fi dudes who know how to mix, you know what I'm saying?
I was just saying in terms of, because I know I've been around people who've been guilty of it, and I myself at some point have been guilty of it on some production stuff myself, where it's kind of like the lower effort thing seemed similar enough to a style where I was like, well, I can just stick to what I know, stick to my guns, and kind of shift my ways a little bit here and there, and then claim that I'm a hip-hop impressionist or whatever you want to call it, right? When in reality, it was just like, no, I couldn't do much outside of what I perceived to be that impressionist style. So
yeah, of course. No, I totally feel where you're coming from on that. And I've done that too. And there's also been times where I was like, that's the best I could do. You know what I'm saying? But that's more often than not.
and it's always I feel like it's helpful to look back, and then it can be, sometimes you'll feel like you're not getting anywhere, but then it helps to look back in those moments when you're stuck. It helps to briefly look back and see the progress you've made. Like I don't think I ever talked about how I got into production on this podcast, but my earliest memories of getting into production were making pause tapes, right? Where I used a tape recorder, cassette recorder, a handheld one, like sort of what you would see in the 90s, like journalists would have on hand, right?
Right.
So I used that for recording like my freestyles and songs or whatever. But I would also record beats, and the way I did that is like I wasn't really aware of the internet, none like that. So what I would try to do usually is at the end of certain songs, you'd hear like a beat playing a little bit, right? And I would like rap to that and I'd rewind and play it again. And sometimes it'd be like a 4-bar loop. And I remember, to me, I wanted to rap over something that I haven't heard rappers rap over. So I would take like the end of like some sort of soul song, right? Or like a pop song or something. And it'd be like a 4-bar kind of piece of instrumentation that would have nothing. So I would record it in my tape recorder. So I hit record, I play it, and then right when it runs out, I pause, I stop recording, I rewind back, and then play it again, record. It hits the end of the 4th bar, and stop, and sort of rinse and repeat. And then in the end, what you have is like occasionally kind of sloppy edit, but you'll have your 16 to 64 bar loop that you've created. And I would sort of write my songs to that. And at the time, I didn't think I was producing. I just thought like I need this thing to loop. and because I want to rap
Right.
over it. And then over time, I think that actually helped inform like my techniques years down the road. Because then I picked up a fucking Casio keyboard, try to play around with shit like that. And then when it came time to me actually acquiring software that allowed me to connect a MIDI keyboard to it and sample, cut samples and everything, I was able to apply all of that experience that I had, that to me up until then seemed kind of almost useless, you know? Like I never thought of it like, man, this is fucking useful what I'm learning or what I'm doing here. I was actually able to apply myself just because I had fun before, and I was kind of, I forced myself to do those things out of love or out of passion. And then I subsequently was able to actually apply that to my skills nowadays. And so yeah, like whenever you're working on something you love or something, if you're driven to do something, I don't think it's ever a waste. And you might be surprised by how at a later point in time you could apply it to something that you do well.
Right. Yeah, definitely. And I think I never knew that about you trying to make loops and stuff like that. Like I knew that you would record it on tape.
Yeah, I never because I never thought of it as production, you know? Like thinking about it, like until recently, I didn't really think about it. And then the other day, I was trying to make a beat, and I found like this little chunk of a song, like a Sun Ra joint, and I was like, oh, it's perfect. I'm going to loop that. And I was trying to loop it just perfect, and I looped it. And I was like, this is kind of perfect. I'm just going to mix it a bit better. And it's kind of done. Like, I don't feel like adding much to it would make it better. And I knew that was like, that's producing. That's what a lot of the grades do. I'm not comparing myself to the grades, but like, I don't force myself to go any further because I know people like Madlib are able to perfect their production style by sometimes not adding anything to the sample. It's just cutting the sample just right and polishing it right. And then it gave me flashbacks.
I remember the first time I heard, I can't remember what song it was, but it was, I do remember. It was a MF Doom and a Ghostface Killah song, Angels. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I do.
Okay, you know how like that joint, I don't know who made the beat for that. It might have been Doom, but
probably Doom.
That joint is just a loop. And I remember like when I was like growing up, I was just like, I mean, all they didn't even add drums or anything. Like, blah, blah, blah. Like it's just a loop. And I think that like, I was too young to understand then. I feel like that it's like really hard to find those like really spicy loops sometimes. And like, especially one that's that good, you know, and these like really old obscure records. And I think that like, I mean, that comes even to like, it's almost like old school DJing. You know what I'm saying? Like that's like fundamentals of rap shit, you know? And sometimes it isn't about like flexing a skill, even though it kind of is, but it's not about that. It's more about making something that you think sounds good and that you like, you know? And like, I think that's important.
You make a good point there, not to like go too much on a tangent there, but you're right. Like, hip hop's origins are traced back to break beats, you know? Like it was taking break beats from like I don't know, these like
old soul and old funk records.
Old soul and funk records, right? And there would be a break, right? There'd be a break where the drums would play, and like you'd grab that and you loop it, and that's why they're called break beats. And like I think it's sort of people unanimously agreed that that's how hip hop started, you know? It was Kool Herc, DJ Kool Herc.
Yeah, it was the party. Yeah, it was the big party, the infamous party.
Yeah, the party during which hip hop was born, where he looped these breakbeats.
It's so crazy that you can literally trace like the beginnings of a genre like back to like
a party,
a singular night, like that people know the date.
Party.
There's people who are alive who have been to the party, you know.
Kool Herc is alive. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And people went to that party, and the craziest thing about it is nobody like really filmed it or recorded it or nothing. It was just a party, right? And back then, recording and filming equipment wasn't commonplace. You don't just be like, yo, bring your camera to the party. That shit didn't. You'd have to have a whole rig. Nowadays, you have your phone, you pull it out. Most people can't put their phones down. So that party everyone knows about, who's been there, is not on film or like in any audio recording capacity, right? And it wasn't actually as large of a party as a lot of people claim. And it was like a decent sized party, but it wasn't massive. And a lot of people who attended that party ended up becoming some of the biggest hip-hop acts of the next 5 to 10 years, who who grabbed on from like what was there and like evolved it into a full-fledged genre of different facets. And now we're at a point where lots of people recollect that time and say like, I was there, I was at the party. And all these old heads, like all these legends and godfathers who were actually there, they're like, no, the fuck you weren't. It was a tiny party.
Yeah. There's this old dude that I work with. I've mentioned before. It's the same guy who said that Doom was a bum because he never heard of him. And he was just like, he's from Brooklyn, and he's like, you know how many people I know that say they went to the party, but they didn't go to the party? Like shit like that. Like, you didn't go to the party either, but it was like a big thing. Everyone said they went to the party when they didn't. It's like Woodstock. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's I have man, like I fantasize about it a lot. Not to make it sound
sexually.
Weird. Yeah, but I totally
sexually.
No, but it's just kind of like I like to sit there and ponder how it was like. What was it like to be there and to hear that for the first time, and just like never being exposed to that, right?
There's gotta be a crazy energy in that room because like I don't know if you know what I mean, but like we've definitely had moments where we've had like good energy in the room in terms of like just creative, like everybody there was like into the same thing. Everybody was having a good time. But like, I just imagine that would be like that, like tenfold just for everyone. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like this like strange, like almost supernatural event.
Shouts out to DJ Kool Herc.
Let's get Kool Herc on the podcast. Everyone give us a like and a sub on.
Please don't do this because he is a god amongst men, and I am grateful. If it weren't for him, my life wouldn't have the meaning that it has. I owe everything to hip hop, and I owe subsequently everything to Kool Herc, and I wouldn't want to offend him by having him on this podcast.
Could you imagine Kool Herc like on our podcast? Like how shitty that would be. Like he's just so bad.
I'd be like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Like, I just be so nervous because I don't know that man, but I just imagine that he would not find humor in a lot of the things we find humor in, and it would just be great.
It would be. I mean, I feel like we can always chop it up and talk about hip hop. One thing I do want to say, I do hope to meet Kool Herc in person and convey my gratitude, and also maybe just kind of kick it and like I want to get his thoughts on some of the ways in which hip hop evolved, and I feel like he would have a very interesting perspective coming from like, being a DJ and like it all being about the party, and like luckily that facet of hip hop, although a lot of people will decry it from one decade to another, it has not died and has reigned supreme. And this is why I feel like a lot of kids nowadays who, a lot of people might think don't align with the old ways of hip hop, like Lil Pump, to me seem very hip hop indeed. If you were talking about the roots. So I'd like to get his thoughts on some of these matters. I
like how this podcast started with us talking about like unicycle stuff, and now we just ended up on the most rapidy rap. I would say this is an eclectic episode.
Yeah, I agree. I'm really sorry if you guys listened to this and just didn't give a shit, but this was a pleasant conversation for me personally.
It needed to happen. It was one of those.
So,
you know what I'm saying?
And any closing thoughts?
Yeah, man. How's your granddaughter doing?
My who?
Your granddaughter.
I shot her with a Glock 9.
Still broke as fuck. Same shirt as yesterday, so you know what's up. Shouldn't turn my rapper years, man, I'm old as fuck. When you see me in the booth, best know to duck. Yo, you smell like seafood, homie, open up. Why you trying to please somebody when you clearly need nobody? To confirm that you don't need a body or a job or need a hobby. Fishy while you see beside me, middle fingers to the garbage fuckers party. I'm high and I'm hyperkinetic. Spend half my life saying hi to the medics, and I don't regret it. I've only confirmed that I am eccentric, and I will conform to your lies or deceptions. I'm not concerned with my likeness or semblance. I will concur, going fuck pro-life. I'm pro-death, pro-protest, pro-progress, witness a pro-profess. Exo explosive, you hopeless. No co-safe when we post it. You know this. You see beef and get roasted, break bread or get toasted. Get the cheese or get the picture. Wait, I'm getting the bow, bitch. Now how that feel, huh?
See, that's a sad face.
I'm a fucking tachyon, spitting in your backyard, knock you out like Pacquiao. All you do is act hard. Oh, you rappers whack now, but you'll never last long, making suckers pass out every time the grass bars. Fucking tachyon, spitting in your backyard, knock you out like Pacquiao. All you do is act hard. Oh, you rappers whack now, but you'll never last long, making suckers pass out every time the grass bars.